Frost Arena in Brookings is full as the Bison and the Jackrabbits get set to go at it here for the second time this season, with first place in the Summer League on the line. Tom Neiman along with Brad Newitt. And let's get to the starting fives. Jackrabbits have been solid with that first five. This will be the 18th game now with George Marshall in the lineup for South Dakota State. Parks and Biddle and Cody Larson have started every game this year for South Dakota State. North Dakota State with the Ironman Lawrence Alexander, Carlin Dupree, A.J. Jacobson, Chris Kading, and Corey Brown is in the lineup here this afternoon, and he was questionable coming in. This was on Thursday night at Denver as the Bison were early on in this game, and this is about 3 minutes into the game, and Brown goes down with a knee injury, a leg injury on that left side, and he has been the glue and the hustle and everything else for North Dakota State this year, Brad.
He's an energy guy, big-time finisher near the rim, strong body. His leadership on the floor in big games like this is what's really going to help North Dakota State. Great for the Bison to see him in the starting lineup.
He's got that left knee braced up a little more than usual, but he is in the starting five here, and this North Dakota State starting five is as good as any in the Summer League. South Dakota State counters with Cody Larson, who will jump it up here against Chris Kading to get it going between the Bison and the Jackrabbits. Summit League lead on the line here with just 3 games to play in the regular season after this one today. Here's Jake Biddle, checked by Corey Brown. George Marshall comes to the top, quick double on Cody Larson. Here is DeAndre Parks, one of the leading scorers for South Dakota State at about 15 a game. And a long 2 on the way, rattles off, and there's Corey Brown with his first rebound for the Bison.
That's what Brown brings to the table. He had a great defensive play on that sequence, doubling Larson, and then comes up with the rebound.
Averages about 6 boards a game. That leads North Dakota State, so we will see how he holds up here today. Brown and Lawrence Alexander with DeAndre Parks on him. Here's Carlin Dupree, who has taken a lot of the ball handling duties away from Alexander, kind of freeing him up this year.
Well, they freed Alexander up to be a scorer, and he answers the bell right there.
That was well within his range. He can go another 3-4 feet outside of that, and Alexander now with 81 made threes on the season. He is going to break the North Dakota State three-point record at some point here in the next couple of weeks. George Marshall gets a little stiff arm on Brown as he goes down, and Marshall answers for South Dakota State.
Well, George Marshall's hit big shots for this team here in the last 6 games for them. Been a big reason why South Dakota State went on that 8-game winning streak earlier on.
A.J. Jacobson leads Summer League freshman in scoring. There's Kading, and here's Jacobson.
See South Dakota State switching a lot of the screening action that Lawrence Alexander's involved in.
Jacobson using some of that size to get to the rim, and then Chris Kading follows it up.
One of the things South Dakota State's been so good at defensively is being able to contain the basketball one-on-one without having to help. They couldn't do it that time, though. The help defense is what gave up that offensive rebound. North Dakota State, one of the best defensive teams when it comes to just being solid.
Playing without fouling. They are very good at Tellinghusen. Switched it to the left hand. That's a true freshman for the Jackrabbits.
Great to see Tellinghusen, if you're a South Dakota State fan, putting the ball on the floor. He's a great shooter, but when he starts adding that dimension to his scoring game, he really becomes a complete player for them.
Yeah, he's been a little quiet in the last few weeks, but still averaging 9 points a game in Summer League play. Tellinghusen. Kading can take it out and shoot the 3 at times. Dupree sets it up for Brown. Larson shuts that off in a travel. David Richmond in his first season as the head coach now in North Dakota State. He was there for 7 years as an associate head coach under Saul Phillips and Scott Nagy. 20 years now at South Dakota State. Their all-time leading wins as a head coach at SDSU. Immediate double, Brad, on Larson. And Biddle on a step back. He's been hot offensively in the last few weeks for the Jackrabbits.
Like you said, though, the double on Larson, that's been the key thing early on here. North Dakota State has come out and said Cody Larson is not going to beat them in the post. Watching Corey Brown offensively, Tom, doesn't look like he's 100%. He didn't want anything to do with Cody Larson under the rim on that last possession. And he didn't look to drive earlier there.
Just great matchups all over the floor, Brad, with Jacobson and Tellinghusen matching up. Marshall got a little screen from Cody Larson, and George Marshall back-to-back threes for South Dakota State.
Carlin Dupree went under that ball screen. That's all the room Marshall needed to stick the three.
Dupree gets by Biddle. Jacks reach in and strip it away, and it's going to stay in North Dakota State's end, however, as Ian Tyson will come in along with Keaton Moffitt for the Jacks.
Here's an area where South Dakota State has an advantage. They are a deeper team, Tom. And again, we mentioned North Dakota State had to play a midweek game this week. South Dakota State did not. See if that comes into play in the second half as these teams get a little more winded.
Brown lost it, got it back, and nice find to Kading, and Chris Kading's got a couple of early hoops for the Bison.
I have no idea how Brown got rid of that thing without traveling, but he did.
So the Jacks get Larson a quick break here, and Marshall has that, what would have been a third straight three, rim out, and now a travel called again coming out of there on Corey Brown, and South Dakota State will get it right back. A lot of threes in here. Nate Walters is in the building, South Dakota State legend, and the Jackrabbits out to a 1-point lead early. Nate Walters at Frost Arena once again here this afternoon. The Jackrabbits all-time scoring leader, over 2,000 points. Only guy that's ever scored more than 2,000 here for South Dakota State, and they are honoring him here this afternoon. On a hiatus right now from the NBA, Walters just off a couple of 10-day contracts with New Orleans. We'll see what happens next. Ian Tyson missed it. Reed Tellinghusen came flying, but Alexander's got it for the Bison. Alexander just over 20 points a game in Summit League play. Dexter Werner has checked in, and so is Paul Miller for North Dakota State. Tellinghusen with the steal for the Jackrabbits.
That was created by Ian Tyson's great post defense that time on Warner. He shut him down, forced the turnover. And Tom, North Dakota State now, they already have 3 turnovers in this game.
And Werner takes it right back, gives it off to Dupree. A.J. Jacobson out to Dex Werner.
Here's a good matchup. Warner going against Tellinghusen.
Made him take kind of a tough fall-away shot. Dexter Werner, Bison, Brad, they might have the player of the year, Lawrence Alexander, and the 6th man of the year in Dexter Werner.
Werner's been a fantastic surprise for them off the bench. They're shooting 52%, just under double figures in scoring per game.
Marshall, slice and throw, and George Marshall's got 8 points here in the opening 6 minutes for South Dakota State.
He's been the spark for them offensively. Hit those 2 3-point shots, and then now you see his versatility. Nice drive.
Tyson with a rebound on the shot by Miller. Paul Miller, a true freshman in there now for North Dakota State. DeAndre Parks has not had a real good look yet, but as that roll off, and Werner's got it, and they foul him, and Keaton Moffitt will get the foul for South Dakota State.
This is what North Dakota State does better than almost every team in the nation. Defensive rebounding, Tom. They're 2nd in the nation in defensive rebounding percentage, meaning they get about 78% of the defensive boards that come their way. And toughness like that. They just don't give up second opportunities very often, and that's why they're such a great defensive team.
You believe they're going to be very deliberate here this afternoon, right?
Well, we haven't seen a lot of it yet, but in these half-court situations here, there's no reason for them not to be. Like we talked about in the open, they're a little banged up with Corey Brown's injury, and they're not a deep team to begin with. So a lower possession game certainly favors the Bison.
Yeah, these first 7 guys, you got Werner and Miller in there, along with the starters, played 98.7% of their minutes so far this year, and Alexander showing off that range again. He's got 2 threes.
You want to talk about what Lawrence Alexander has done as far as improving his game. It's that right there. 45% three-point shooter now this year.
Marshall missed. Biddle rebound. Larson in at that last break. And again, Miller, the double teamer this time, just immediately. Go for Tellenhusen, but Biddle, second time down this trip with an offensive rebound. And that is a three. Larson's got it. And Cody Larson back up for his first two. 4 shots for the Jacks that time, though, Brad.
Yeah, as soon as we talk about how great NDSU is defensive rebounding, couldn't believe my eyes there. They gave up 3 0 boards in 1 possession. That's unheard of.
Alexander, Marshall closing out. The step back 2 this time, and Marshall with the rebound.
A good decision there by George Marshall. Just went with a hard closeout, forced Alexander to put the ball on the deck. Alexander's already hit 2 rhythm three-pointers.
Larson finds Moffitt, and Dexter Werner over with the foul for the Bison. George Marshall, hot start here, hit his first 2 three-point shots. He's got 8. South Dakota State leads it 12-10. Played on January 4th in Fargo, and the Bison and Carlin Dupree got out to a 9-0 lead. They led it by 21 with 6 minutes to go in the first half, but South Dakota State cut that lead to 2 midway through the second half. DeAndre Parks had 21 for the Jackrabbits, but Corey Brown and the Bison hang on to win it by 3 after that big first half lead for the Bison.
Tom, it was really the second half of that game where South Dakota State made that huge comeback. Even though South Dakota State didn't win that game in Fargo, that really did propel South Dakota State because they won 8 games in a row after that.
Moffitt got 1 out of 2. Zach Horstman is in for South Dakota State, and Brian Ishola in for the first time, a freshman for North Dakota State. Here is Paul Miller, very good shooter, but Kading down with a rebound. And here is Ishola, so the Bison out there with a redshirt freshman and a couple of true freshmen, along with Alexander, who probably will not come off the floor.
No, you'll see number 12 in green playing 40 minutes today. DeAndre Parks hounding him out there.
Alexander smooth with the left hand, but Larson's got the rebound.
When South Dakota State's forced Alexander to put the ball on the deck or shoot pull-up jumpers, they've got him to miss. It's been the three-pointers that Alexander's hit. It's been his scoring.
Foul on Chris Kading, trying to keep Cody Larson from coming across.
We're 9 minutes in. That's only 3 total fouls that have been called in this game. 2 on NDSU and 1 on South Dakota State.
Biddle trying to take advantage of the freshman Ishola, and Jake Biddle with his first 2. Jacks switch it up on Alexander. Nice drop to Kading, but Moffitt over to shut that off. Jacobson has yet to have a real good look. Had that one runner roll off early on, but A.J. Jacobson stays with it this time. First 2 for Jacobson.
Talking about a freshman that's really come on the scene as well. Averaging 11 points a game, A.J. Jacobson. Yeah. Player out of Fargo there.
He had 19 at Denver Thursday in the Bison overtime win. North Dakota State's won 3 overtime games already in the league this year. Larson couldn't get it down, but another offensive rebound for the Jacks. That's 4 of them now. And they do not double. Well, the hard double anyway. Jacobson's peeking over there. And they're going to call a travel on Larson coming out of it.
Credit to North Dakota State. They're mixing it up a little bit, like you mentioned here. Didn't come with the hard double. Jacobson kind of bluffing there, and I think Larson was a little caught off guard by that. Didn't know what to do with it, and definitely traveled there.
Scott Nagy has said at times he wants Larson to be selfish when he gets the ball in the post like that, but given the defense here this afternoon, we'll see how he has to play it.
That's certainly a strategy that a lot of coaches will try to implement, is try to guess that offensive post player guessing. Is the double team coming?
Wow, great catch by Kading just to get that thing up, but Jackson strip it away. Parks slicing the other way, and Carlin Dupree reached in and knocked it out. Stays at this end.
For the Jackrabbits, number 11, George Marshall, and number 23, Reed Tellinghusen. For number 24, Zach Horton.
You mentioned North Dakota State's close games. They've got 3 overtime wins, like you mentioned. They've also got a 2-point win at Western Illinois, and then a couple of 3-point victories as well. They've really pulled out a lot of close games this year in the Summit League. That is why they're sitting at the top of the standings.
And their 2 losses were on the road by 4 and 6 points.
Yes.
Tellinghusen gets it up over Kading. And that is 4 for Reed Tellinghusen. The Jacks out to a 5-point lead.
You flip it the other way, in South Dakota State, they've just been destroying people, especially here at Frost Arena. Their closest game here in the Summit League, a 14-point win against USD. All the others have been 20-plus.
Marshall got switched off on Alexander, fouled away again. He is unbelievable on it. Just leans back a little bit on that shot and can get it up over about anybody. At 6'3", Alexander's got 3 threes now. Larson trying to go strong again. Kading holds him off, right back at it, and a whistle. And then we're going to foul here on A.J. Jacobson.
Tom, this is 5 offensive rebounds now for South Dakota State. And if they can get second opportunities, this is really going to help them in this game. Larson just sticking with it. That's the aggressive and physical play, like you mentioned, that Scott Nagy wants to see.
I'm not sure. The foul should not have been on Jacobson. I don't believe he was even out there.
The official's going to come over the monitor, take a look at it.
David Richmond didn't think there should have been a whistle to begin with, but then Jacobson is on the bench and was on the bench, and there were 3 other Bison there, but
see, Kading does a nice job just holding his ground, and then Larson here, tough to tell. I mean, for as physical as the game is, not a lot of contact on that shot, but they did call it. I think the question will be who the foul should be on.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You can't go to the monitor and see if there was a foul, but since they had whistled a foul, now they've got to assign it to somebody. But Jacobson was out of the game, so it'll go.
Number 2, Paul Miller, his second.
Yeah, they're going to call it on Paul Miller. Yeah, I mean, you got 3 Bison players there that were all involved in the mix.
Well, that is the second foul on Paul Miller. Jacobson is going to check back in here after the first free throw. 2 shots coming for Cody Larson. So now Jacobson and Dexter Werner will come back on for North Dakota State.
Well, that's one place where North Dakota State's got some versatility. It's kind of that 4-5 position. They've got some different ways that they can go. Right now, Werner and kind of Corey Brown playing the 4 and the 5.
Jake Biddle sneaks in again on the miss, and they say it was off of Corey Brown. So South Dakota State will keep it. Larson goes out. Ian Tyson back in for South Dakota State.
This is another offensive rebound for South Dakota State, Tom. North Dakota State on the season, they only give up about 6 offensive rebounds per game, and South Dakota State's already got that.
Biddle, a little too fancy for Tyson, but it's going to be a foul or a tie-up. They're going to get a whistle out of this, and a foul on Ian Tyson for the Jackrabbits.
Just couldn't get a grip on him then. You can see Tyson trying to wrestle away from behind. Because he was coming from behind there, took Corey Brown to the ground. Good call.
Yeah, there's Brown doing what Corey Brown does.
And even though he's not 100% out there, he's impacting the game for sure on the defensive end of the floor for North Dakota State.
Alexander's got 3 threes here for the Bison. Chris Kading has a couple of buckets, and A.J. Jacobson's got the other 2. But again, the range just rolled around twice and came out that time for Alexander.
tell. He's in a zone shooting the three ball. It's looking good coming off his hand. He just barely missed that one.
DeAndre Parks yet to get a look for the Jags. Sets up Tellinghusen this time. And Reed Tellinghusen with 7 for the Jackrabbit freshman.
That's great offense by South Dakota State because North Dakota State's really packing it in. They drew some help defense, kicked out for the wide open 3. Both these teams defensively played pretty conservative. They stand between their man and the basket. You see a lot of the help defenders in the gaps, Tom. There's not a lot of driving lanes. Switch here.
Alexander up over Tyson this time at 6'9".
Even though Alexander feeling the three ball, it probably would have been better served to take Tyson off the bounce.
Parks loses it. Here's Brown to Carlin Dupree for 2. Count it for Dupree, and a free throw coming up.
South Dakota State getting it rolling on their home floor from the offensive end. Marshall neck drain in the 3. Larson with the finish on the O glass. Jacks are out to a 4-point lead.
Setting up Carlin Dupree, and the foul there on Tellinghusen. Dupree will go to the free throw line here for 1. Brad Newitt. Another very good role player is Carlin Dupree. Gets his 3 rebounds, 3 assists every game, plays defense, makes some timely shots.
Like you said, has really taken over a lot of the ball handling duties for North Dakota State, which has been huge for them because that has freed up Lawrence Alexander to become the prolific scorer he's become here now in his senior year.
First 3 for Dupree, first 3 points of the game, just a sophomore. Corey Brown got a little bit of rest there. He's back on for the Bison. Larson facing up against Werner. The late double team and an offensive foul called against Cody Larson as Werner goes down.
One of the things you're going to see here by Dexter Warner, he actually gives a little ground here, gives Larson some space. That's what allows him to draw the foul. Larson's got to recognize that and not try to go through Warner getting to the rim.
They played him going to that right hand and guessed right. First foul on Cody Larson for South Dakota State. Jacobson. So far, Tellinghusen has kept Jacobson away from the rim at least. Tellinghusen can't get back-to-back. Rebound to Alexander. Jake Biddle is flying after rebounds for the Jackrabbits.
South Dakota State's sending some guys to the old boards, and they can do that because NDSU is not a team that's going to look to get out and run a ton. I've seen some of that patient offense here by the Bison.
Brown, Ipsy-do around Marshall, and Werner had it blocked by Larson, who tried to kick it back in. It's out of bounds, but what a block by Larson.
This was a fantastic recovery by South Dakota State defensively. Larson came over to help. Got all ball there. It shows you the athleticism of Cody Larson at 6'9".
Corey Brown lining up 3, not going to go down, and Jackrabbits knock it out though as Carlin Dupree was going after it for the Bison. Hey, talk about his athleticism. How about Dexter Werner, who was kind of come into his own this year for the Bison?
Yeah, Warner doesn't look the part when you look at him, but he's got great agility, great footwork for a big man. Maybe not the lift off the ground, but he makes up for it in a lot of other areas.
Alexander cuffs it. Larson has it this time.
Great transition defense there by North Dakota State. They're a little off on their matchups here. Jacobson caught guarding Larson in the post, to my point right there, and drew the foul.
It'll be the first on Jacobson, and both teams just 4 team fouls so far.
North Dakota State got off defensively there, just in their transition.
Jackson right back at him, but Larson is kind of double dipping on those shots and misses from short range again.
And hats off to Dave Richmond and his coaching staff for their game plan. They really doubled Larson hard for the first 5 minutes, kind of got him out of his rhythm, and now Larson hasn't been able to find it here after that.
Jacobson gets a step on Biddle this time. Brown's got the rebound. And finally down to Marshall.
That was a great opportunity by North Dakota State. They just couldn't capitalize.
David Richmond, though, even after the miss, Jack's nothing in transition.
Yeah, you won't see North Dakota State go after too many O boards. They're really concerned of getting back and getting set.
Wow, Larson again, double team, comes from Alexander, and he strips it away. Three again by Alexander. He's got 4 in the game. He's got 84 on the season, Brad. He needs one more to tie the North Dakota State all-time record for threes in a season.
No, that's saying a lot because they've had some great shooters come through there. Of course, Mike Felt last year, who graduated, was a prolific three-point shooter.
Yep. Alexander just went by Felt for all-time wins. And George Marshall with a chance at a three-point play for South Dakota State. We go under 4 minutes. Alexander's got 4 threes. And South Dakota State leads by 2. George Marshall unties the ball game. That last 3 by Alexander had knotted it at 21. And now Werner coming over for the Bison, but Marshall gets the hoop.
So far in this one, it's been the matchup of the guards. Marshall for South Dakota State got 10. Lawrence Alexander with 12.
And then Zach Horseman sneaks in. That's the second time on a missed free throw that South Dakota State's come away with it.
They've got 8 offensive boards here in this first half. And compare that to just 8 defensive boards for North Dakota State. That's been a huge thing that has swung in South Dakota State's favor.
Moffitt out there now against A.J. Jacobson. Carlin Dupree inside the three-point line, and Moffitt with the rebound. Marshall, some fancy footwork. And that sweet pull-up jumper from about 15 feet. That's 12 points now from Marshall.
You can tell he's just in a really nice rhythm here today. They get all started because he hit that first three-pointer. He's just very relaxed since.
Werner spins right around Tyson, but another one rolls off for the Bison.
Without Cody Larson on the floor, South Dakota State becomes a different offensive team. You're going to see a lot more spacing, a lot more freedom of movement. Parks
trying to get himself involved in the offense, but still nothing for DeAndre Parks. Here's Carlin Dupree.
That's really the thing you look at. Both these teams, none of their role players have really gotten going. You got Lawrence Alexander leading the way, George Marshall leading the way for South Dakota State, but haven't had a lot of supporting cast to go along with either one of them.
Werner, it's a shot that he has been working on this year, the mid-range jump shot, but another 1 and out for the Bison.
North Dakota State just shooting 33% here in this first half. You look at that, just to be down 6, they've got to be pretty pleased about that. Big reason why, though, is they've hit 4 threes.
Bison switching up those screens as well. Parks right at Jacobson, blocked by Jacobson.
It's a really nice defense by A.J. Jacobson to not foul Parks. North Dakota State is taking their time, and they yields a good shot there.
Good rhythm shot that time for Jacobson. He's got 5. And it cuts the South Dakota State lead in half.
Their average time of possession in this first half has been 26 seconds. And right now we're sitting at 28 possessions per team. Which is a pretty low number here for a half.
Marshall, a 2, and George Marshall is feeling it for the Jacks. He's got 14. Marshall has hit 6 of 8 shots and pushes the lead back to 5. Quick timeout here. by North Dakota State. Again, the Bison, they are 4-2 on the road in Summer League play this season. And here was Thursday night in Denver. Alexander hits a three with 7 seconds to go. And then Brett Olson, there's no timeouts for anybody left. Olson cans that from midcourt to tie it at 63, send it to overtime. Alexander had this basket. He made 6 free throws, and North Dakota State pulls it out in overtime, 73-69.
What a range of emotions that North Dakota State had to go through there. You look like you have the game won, then all of a sudden a half-court shot sends it to overtime, and to their credit, they regrouped. Dave Richmond got his team focused, and they still got the win in overtime. Like you mentioned, they've won 3 overtime games in the Summit League this year.
One at IUPUI in overtime. They beat Denver twice in overtime this year. Corey Brown flips it up. Larson's got another rebound.
Brown certainly has not looked like himself, especially on the offensive end. You can tell, certainly not 100%, but to his credit, he's gutting it out here in this game tonight. Yeah,
Brown can power it to the rim as well as anybody, and just maybe not quite as strong on that left knee.
North Dakota State's controlled tempo, like we mentioned in this game. We'll see if South Dakota State, though, can finish with a make here on this last possession.
Moffitt gets a step. Jacobson blocks it again with 1.9 on the clock.
Well, at 6'6", A.J. Jacobson, kind of a bad closeout, but to his credit, though, did not give up on the play and made a great play from behind.
Jacks have a couple plays where they lob it to the rim, and Larson got a hand on it. Kading makes sure that he doesn't get a good shot off there, and South Dakota State will lead at 29-24 at the half. 12 points for Lawrence Alexander, 14 for George Marshall for the Jackrabbits, and a 5-point South Dakota State lead. Transfer from the University of Wisconsin, became eligible in December this year. Brad Hood has been a big difference maker for the Jacks, and he's got 14 in the first half for South Dakota State.
Well, the big thing is he's done it very efficiently. On just 8 shots, he's 6 of 8 from the field. And when he can score with that kind of efficiency, he's deadly.
Alexander, again, leads the Summit League in scoring. 20.5 points a game in Summit League play. He's got 4 threes in the first half. Star guards have done it so far. DeAndre Parks scoreless in that first half, though, for the Jackrabbits. Cody Larson only had 3 points and 6 rebounds. And Alexander, the only guy with more than 5 for North Dakota State.
Alexander can't be the only guy that scores for North Dakota State in the second half. They're not going to be able to win on the road only relying on him. So A.J. Jacobson needs to step up, probably point to him more than anybody, especially with Corey Brown not 100% here today.
Brown again coming off a knee injury in that game at Denver on Thursday night. He is not in there to start the second half here for the Bison. Paul Miller is in the first 5. Kading right up over the Jacks inside. Chris Kading now with 6 for North Dakota State.
Great set play coming out of the half there, and North Dakota State gets an easy one. And you got to wonder with Dave Richmond, excuse me, Tom, not starting Corey Brown, maybe just trying to get a little more offense on the floor for his team.
Larson defended well that time by Kading. Corey Brown in that first half didn't score. He did have 4 rebounds and 3 assists.
Felt like North Dakota State in that first half really got into just a mode where they were just looking to try to dribble drive their own guy individually, instead of really running a lot of offense with screens and motion. We'll see if that changes here in the second half.
Shot clock to 6. They're going to get DeAndre Parks with hands on the drive on Alexander, and call him point guard or not, he's going to have the ball when the shot clock is down to 10.
I call him just playmaker, because that's what he is. And DeAndre Parks is one of the best perimeter defenders in the Summit League. You can see how hard it is to keep Lawrence Alexander in front of you.
Step through by Alexander, and he follows it back up. 14 now for Alexander.
He just plays with such a fluid pace out there. Never rushed, never hurried, looks under control.
Good size at 6'3" for Lawrence Alexander. Marshall, see if he can stay hot, and he does. 16 for George Marshall. That was a 2.
These star guards, they've been going at each other. They haven't guarded each other a lot in the game, but it's been fun to watch.
Marshall did play in that game at Fargo in the second game of the Summer League regular season. He only had 4 points that night on 1 of 9 shooting, but he's got 16 now. There's Jacobson going against the freshman Tellinghusen. Carlin Dupree rising up for 3. So there's some help.
That's a shot South Dakota State's been willing to give up to Carlin Dupree, and he made him pay there.
And not a lot of that from him in league play anyway. That's his 5th made 3 in the Summer League play so far this year. And 12 games now, 13 for the Bison.
He's just a 20% shooter from deep, but he had plenty of time to line that one up.
Marshall sets up Larson. This is going to be an offensive foul called on Larson.
This is a tough call.
Paul Miller got there. But this has been the debate for the last year and a half, Brad. That secondary defender coming over. He was outside the arc.
He was, but was he set before Larson started upward motion? And boy, that's just a bang, bang play. Don't envy the officials having to make that call.
And the bucket was good. Wipe it off for Larson. That's his 2nd foul. Kading on the miss.
I give Paul Miller, though, a lot of credit. Stepping in and taking that charge against the 6'9" post.
Larson right back at him this time, though, and they're going to warn him for coming out of there and throwing the basketball.
Some aggression here. Larson had a clear lane, and he was not going to be denied on that one.
So they warn Larson after he picks it up and kind of tosses it toward the baseline there. But
that might be the thing that ignites Larson. We've seen that in some of South Dakota State's games. You know, he'll have a quiet first half. Something sets him off in the second half, and he can get it going.
Yeah, Scott Nagy will take that. They like the aggression out of him. Got to kind of ride a fine line, but
when you're playing in the post, there's no doubt you got to have some toughness and some aggression.
Biddle got a step on Miller, Kading over on the foul for the Bison. That'll be his 2nd.
First team foul in the second half for the Bison.
Biddle here in attack mode. He gets a step on Paul Miller. And Biddle's another one of those guards at 6'4". He will go right to the rim. He will seek contact to get himself to the foul line.
2nd foul on Kading. Biddle out of Bixby, Oklahoma. He plays big. It's listed at 6'4". I think he's a little bit bigger than that. Very rangy.
Oh, and he just plays physical, and that's what Scott Nagy loves about him. He's just a tough player, and he's become more aggressive offensively here. You know, he went through a spell, especially when George Marshall joined this team, Tom, where he really disappeared offensively for South Dakota State, but he's been back here of late.
Shooting at 89% from the free throw line. Ian Tyson is in for Cody Larson. There's some of those baseline cuts, those baseline screens for North Dakota State.
We didn't see a lot of that in the first half here. See if they go to a little bit more some pattern offense with screening action.
Jacobson spinning around DeAndre Parks and a foul at the rim on the Jacks. They'll go against Jake Biddle.
I'm not sure North Dakota State ever thought A.J. Jacobson would be this aggressive and this good off the bounce in his freshman year, Tom. I know they had big plans for him in the future, but he has had a fantastic freshman year. Does not show fear out there as a freshman.
Jacobson out of Fargo Shanley High School. Leads Summer League freshman this year in scoring. He's got 7 here now. He's averaging 10 points a game in the league. Still no Corey Brown for North Dakota State.
Great help there blocking the shot on Marshall.
Jacobson wants it. Got a little late. The catch and shoot from Alexander.
That's one of the cleaner looks he's had from 3. He's hit some tough ones already here today.
DeAndre Parks again, just 0 for 4 from the field.
Alexander's matched up on Ian Tyson inside right now.
Jacks get it to him. Kading came in, stripped it away.
That's how tough North Dakota State is defensively. They get their point guard essentially matched up on the post, but he's able to get the job done.
Miller rising up. Biddle's got it.
You can tell North Dakota State, they're just stagnant offensively here, and some of it might just be their energy. Again, they haven't gone deep into their bench here today, and they're playing their second game in 3 days.
George Marshall again. He's hit 3 threes. He's 7 of 10 from the field, knew it.
He's feeling it here today, and he got off to a great start in the first half with some nice rhythm, and he's carried it.
Dupree right back at him, though. Carlin Dupree sneaking inside, and he's got 8 now. And there's some of that help for Alexander.
You mentioned, yes, maybe a role player coming along, Lawrence Alexander. Dupree, 5 points now here in this second half. Both these teams really not a lot of movement offensively right now, just trying to dribble drive.
Jacobson knocked it away. That is 9 turnovers now against South Dakota State. Alexander sets up Kading, gets him within 1. And Chris Kading now with 8. He's got 8. Jacobson's got 7. Dupree's got 8.
You see how much Lawrence Alexander means to this team. The beautiful setup that time.
Parks, a little slide by. Well defended again by Kading.
Parks is yet to score. He's now 0 of 5 in this one.
Jacobson for the lead, and the Bison go up by 2 on the second 3 of the ball game from A.J. Jacobson.
There's been very little transition basketball in this one, but North Dakota State caught South Dakota State napping that time. The Jacks didn't get back in time, and Jacobson made them pay.
Biddle can't tie it back up. It's off of North Dakota State. Jacks will have it when we come back. Got Larson coming back in, but NDSU has gained the lead here early in the second half. Well, North Dakota State has led for less than a minute in the ballgame. Jacobson gives them the lead here, though, at 40-38. 13 and a half to go, and redshirt freshman's got 10 now.
We talked about some players stepping up from North Dakota State. Dupree's got 5. Jacobson's got 5 now here, each in the second half.
Marshall took a really tough 3 from the corner that time, but the Bison knock it out.
North Dakota State zone defense here on this out-of-bounds play. A little different look defensively.
Jake Biddle for 3 to give the Jacks back the lead.
Bill doesn't take a lot of threes, but when he does, he knocks them in 42% from beyond the arc. And North Dakota State just showing that patience. In the first half, there were just 28 possessions for each team. That's very low.
Wow, they lost track of Alexander again, and that is 5 threes for Alexander. He has tied the North Dakota State single season record.
Well, you never would have thought Alexander would become as good a jump shooter as he's become watching him play his first 3 years, because that really wasn't his game, but boy, it sure has developed this year.
Shooting 46% on threes in Summer League play this year. Biddle looking to go back to back, and the Jacks swing back into the lead as Biddle and Alexander trade threes.
That's a big lift for South Dakota State, getting 2 threes out of Biddle.
Alexander, you got to go out and guard him right there. He's going to. Jacks got lucky that time as Alexander couldn't hit it, and a foul inside goes against Dexter Werner. And we got the under 12 break here with South Dakota State back up by 1. Corey Brown started the ball game, did not come out and start the second half, though. He is on the bench and favoring that left knee quite a bit as he goes back over. And it looks like he may be shut down here for the afternoon, Brad.
Well, you just hate to see that because, first of all, you know how hard all these guys work to get out and play on the floor here and all the time they put in, but especially for Corey Brown. He's one of the heart and soul guys of this Bison team. They're going to have to battle here tough on the road without him.
Marshall cannot get away from Carlin Dupree as the shot clock gets to 10 and Cody Larson steps out.
Much to Dexter Warner's surprise to see Larson pull that one. Warner looked right over at the North Dakota State bench as if to say that wasn't on the scouting report.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 of those at the most a game from Larson, but he's got 7 points now to go with 7 rebounds.
See, North Dakota State content. Early shot clock here. They're just going to look to see if they can get a breakdown. There, they're going to get a foul whistled on Keaton Moffitt. The Bison are certainly in no hurry in the first 20 seconds of the possession to force the issue at all.
For number 4, James Miller.
Looked like some pretty minimal contact there from that angle.
It is the 4th team foul on the Jacks. There were only 9 total fouls in the first half and just 6 total free throws. There have been 4 free throws, 2 on each side here in the second half. Game just zipping along.
Well, that's a credit to these teams defensively, Tom. That's how they both play. They don't foul. Very solid, disciplined team. Case in point right there by Larson.
And they call him 3 seconds called on Dexter Werner as tried to get Larson to bite on something.
You're not going to see better post defense in this. Cody Larson, great job just holding his ground. Being big, gets Werner in a tough position and forces the turnover.
Werner's got all those old man shots where he can dip under and spin, and
he's going to be a fantastic player at the Y for about 20 years when he gets done playing college basketball.
Get one off there though. Kading is back in for Alexander. DeAndre Parks still scoreless, 0-5 from the field. See if he's got some late game in him here. 10 minutes to go. Larson way out away from the basket again. Defense by Kading. And another offensive rebound for Larson.
One mistake there Kading did is he didn't block out.
Larson right back at him, and it rolls out, and Paul Miller's got it.
North Dakota State has done a great job on Cody Larson. 2 for 8 from the field in this game.
Alexander, a step on Parks. And that is 19 now for Alexander.
He's found multiple ways to score, mostly from the 3 ball, but a nice drive there.
Moffitt got a step this time, and some help from the Bison. A foul. It'll go against Chris Kading, and that'll be his 3rd. First guy with 3 in the ball game is Kading.
Moffitt took advantage there. Lawrence Alexander guarding Moffitt, and good job there, just taking it to the rim strong. And North Dakota State's kind of put Lawrence Alexander on some of the lesser players offensively for South Dakota State, I think, trying to conserve his energy.
Substitution for the Bison, number 40, Dexter Werner. For the Jackrabbits, number 42, Ian
Larson going to get another break. Tyson is in. Kading comes out, and Werner right back in for North Dakota State. A 2-point South Dakota State lead.
To see North Dakota State, they're just content here. They're looking for some driving lanes, although Dupree going to travel there.
For the Jackrabbits, number 23, Reed Telling. For number 24, Zach Schwartzman.
North Dakota State, just their 5th turnover of the game. They're one of the best teams in the country. It's turned it over 10 times. That's 10th best in the nation. Tom, they had 4 early on. That was their first turnover. And I'm going to guess maybe 20 minutes of game time.
Yeah, they don't do it.
Yeah.
Werner way out on the hedge that time to stop Marshall, and then Dupree takes it away.
Good decision there by Dupree. And here's secondary break.
Jacks found A.J. Jacobson. He's just kind of been lurking at the 3-point line every time down.
Yeah, that's his spot-up position, and they also covered up Alexander very nicely.
Werner takes advantage of Tyson this time, skipping across the lane, and that is the first 2 points for Dexter Werner, excuse me.
Well, he took advantage of Tyson guarding him.
Parks still can't get one down. Moffitt That is the 13th offensive rebound for South Dakota State.
That might be the most surprising part of this game, and without those, South Dakota State would be in a world of hurt here because they're not shooting a high percentage, just 44%.
Again, without Larson in there, no real post presence. Tyson just not to that point yet in the post, but another Jackrabbit turnover, and that mounting against South Dakota State now. Just their 10th, but can Jacobson take advantage? And he does, and the Bison are in the lead. Jacobson again, he's got 13, and North Dakota State leads. Hockey tonight from Grand Forks. Denver taking on North Dakota. That is at 7 p.m. this evening here on Midco Sports Network. A.J. Jacobson has picked it up here in the second half. A couple of threes. This one gives North Dakota State the lead at 50-47.
3 for 4 beyond the arc here, Tom. He's got 8 points in the second half, and that's obviously really helped North Dakota State. They've got some scoring now to go along with Lawrence Alexander, and this was the recipe they used for the big win they had in Denver 2 nights ago.
Alexander with 19 for the Bison. George Marshall's got 19 for the Jackrabbits. Cody Larson, Jocelyn against Werner. And again, no double team this time. Left hand for Larson, left it short. Biddle's got it. Parks, can he get on the board? And he does. And a foul on Dupree. And a chance at a 4-point play coming up for DeAndre Parks.
The long-range shooting, getting it done for both teams, Tom. Both of these teams actually shooting better from 3 than they are from 2. We got a shootout going here at Brookings.
The rebound, DeAndre Parks hits his first shot of the game. It's a 3, and they call a foul here on Carlin Dupree, and he didn't get a lot of the arm, but it was right in front of the Jackrabbit bench for one thing.
That's certainly a tough call to go against NDSU, but the big thing is how well South Dakota State is offensive rebounding in this game. It is by far the worst game North Dakota State has had on the defensive boards this season. South Dakota State 14 O boards, North Dakota State only 14 defensive boards, so dead even there. And again, coming in, North Dakota State usually gets about 80% of the rebounds on that end of the floor.
Well, South Dakota State has had a 6-point lead. North Dakota State has had a 3-point lead. We've gone back and forth here in the second half. Kind of about 7 minutes to go. Alexander passes on the 3 this time, and a foul on Parks. Will be just the 5th, though, against South Dakota State.
Almost like North Dakota State's just kind of lulling the Jackrabbits to sleep. First 20 seconds, again, just a lot of ball passing, and then they're looking to attack.
That's just not fair when Alexander catches it out there, though, because you got to run at him, and then he just goes right by him with ease. Second foul on DeAndre Parks.
That's what makes him such a tough guard, without a doubt. The way he's shooting the basketball now, and then you can see here the ball on a string.
He had a toe on the 3-point line that time. Marshall had 14 in the first half, got a little bit quiet here in the second, but he does have 19 in all. Parks again, looking to go back-to-back, and he nails another one on that line drive jump shot. So Parks goes from 0 to 7 in the last 2 possessions.
Well, he missed his first 6 shots, but he's hit 2 huge ones here.
Well, credit the Bison for being in shape, Brad. They've got 6 guys here with Corey Brown down. And see what they've got here in the final 6 minutes.
Here's the guy you want with the basketball.
Jack's trying to sneak over and help, and before he gets it off to Werner, another foul I think is going to go against Parks on the drive. Foul instead will go against George Marshall, who wasn't even close. But
yeah. I'm sure they got the right foul. That's what George Marshall's trying to tell the official. I wasn't even in the vicinity, the area code, if you will.
Well, it's the third on Parks. The way they call, well, they check that. They do call it the first on Marshall. And now another foul underneath is Biddle trying to get around Dexter Werner. And that'll be the second on Biddle and the 7th team foul now on South Dakota State.
We knew eventually free throws were going to become a big part of this game. There haven't been a lot of them shot. For North Dakota State, they've only been there 3 times.
Made them all. Jacobson is a 93% free throw shooter.
North Dakota State has controlled the tempo and the pace of this game the way they had to. We mentioned limited roster today. Got some guys banged up.
Kading back in for Werner. That's the only switch they can really make right now. Biddle wrapping around. Kading got a little piece of it. And then Dupree. David Richmond is saying he kept his hand on top of the ball, and he might have caught it a little bit on his hip. I don't know. They do call him for the travel, though.
Well, this is a tough one to go against Carlin Dupree. Just a little bit of a slip there.
Just 6 turnovers, though, against North Dakota State so far. Biddle has hit a couple, and that one was way long.
That was an ill-advised shot there by Jake Biddle. That early in the shot clock.
Alexander again. 21 now for Lawrence Alexander.
Don't count this North Dakota State team out at any point in this game, Tom, with Lawrence Alexander on the floor.
3 in a row for DeAndre Parks. After going 0 for 6, he has hit 3 threes. He's got 10 points here in the last 2.5 minutes on the game clock, and a 30-second timeout called by the Jackrabbits.
With DeAndre Parks' credit, this is really tough as a player. You miss your first 6 shots in this game. You don't have a lot of confidence, but now he's got the confidence going.
This copyrighted telecast, property of Jackrabbit Sports Properties, LLC, an affiliate of Learfield Sports, under rights granted by South Dakota State. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or use of this telecast without express written consent of Jackrabbit Sports Properties is prohibited. South Dakota State, Brad, shooting at 56% on threes. They've made 9 of 16. And North Dakota State at 53%. They've made 9 of their own.
Yes. Both these teams shooting it excellent from beyond the arc. Again, we mentioned shooting it better from 3 than they are from 2. And that's really what you have to do to beat these types of defenses. Both teams really kind of packing it in, playing help-oriented, hard to get to the rim, hard to get to the basket.
Alexander again, just Parks cannot keep him in front of him. And that's going to be the 3rd foul on DeAndre Parks. And this, Jacks might be feeling fortunate. That last one went against George Marshall instead of Parks.
Yeah. The crowd didn't like it here, but that was a really good call. Parks clearly reaching in there. It's just that change of direction, that kind of hesitation that Alexander has, kind of, like he said, gets you to stand up out of your stance just for a second, then he looks to attack you.
First free throw of the night for Alexander. He had 28 at Denver on Thursday night, 8 of those coming in overtime. And he's got 22 so far here tonight. Biddle to Larson. Nice job by Alexander. Tellinghusen for another Jackrabbit 3. That is his second, and Tellinghusen's got 10. Jacks match their biggest lead. Dupree spinning.
North Dakota State, they have to lock in here. Can't let this get to become a 3-possession game.
Parks sets up Larson. Free throw coming for Larson after the break as the Jacks take their biggest lead of the ballgame. DeAndre Parks, scoreless in the first half, has hit 3 threes here in the last few minutes. And South Dakota State leads it by 8. For Cody Larson, this is your Built Ford tough play of the game, brought to you by Vern ID Ford in Mitchell, South Dakota. Larson is going to get a free throw as well, and South Dakota State on its biggest lead now at 8 points with 3:25 to go. Cody Larson, 9 points, as you see, 10 boards as well. And it stays at 8. And it is Lawrence Alexander time if you're North Dakota State. Again, the Bison, they're without Corey Brown here in the second half. Dex Werner. Jacobson. Jacks closed that out. And about 26-footer by Jacobson this time. And would have been spectacular.
That's the one thing. North Dakota State's not a team that can play from big deficits, though, but this is going to be a game changer here.
Jacks give it away, and Carlin Dupree cuts it back to 6. Off the feed from Alexander.
That's a big mistake by South Dakota State. They were about ready to slam the door on this thing, and now North Dakota State's still in it.
Dupree now with 10.
See, there'll be no panic here for North Dakota State. They're a team that can lock down defensively and string together some stops.
Larson pulling it up over Werner, and Dexter Werner again holds off Larson. Alexander's going to get that rebound. He's got 9 rebounds to go with 22 points, 3 assists, cuffs it. Parks got him right at the end of the drive, and 2 free throws coming for Alexander.
This was just a silly turnover here by South Dakota State that leads to an easy run out. And like I mentioned, South Dakota State was on the verge. You go up 10, about 2.5 to go. This thing's pretty much over. Now all of a sudden it's a 6-point game. North Dakota State gets a stop, and now with the chance to cut it to 4. You're looking from a 10-point spread potentially now down to 4 in a matter of about 20 seconds here.
Alexander's been amazing in the last 5 minutes of ball games this year, from the free throw line and from about everywhere for that matter.
Tom, remember, this North Dakota State team, they've played a ton of close games on the road this year. They're not fazed by this. On the flip side, you got to wonder, South Dakota State, they've pretty much blown everybody out in the Summit League here at home. How will they handle being in a close game here in the last 2 minutes?
North Dakota State defending that screen and roll very well, not allowing Larson to slip to the basket. Shot clock to 6 for the Jacks. Parks looks at it and heaves from deep. And Werner's got the rebound, and the Bison with a chance to cut it to 1 if that goes for Jacobson.
That's a tough call there if you're North Dakota State. You want that shot with nobody in any type of rebounding position. That's kind of an all-or-nothing type 3-point shot.
Timeout, South Dakota State, 1:20 to go. Coming up live on Midco Sports Network again tonight at 7 o'clock. Hockey in Grand Forks with Denver taking on UND. And then next Saturday here at Frost Arena, it's a doubleheader with South Dakota and South Dakota State in the women's game at 4:30. And that'll be followed by Oral Roberts taking on the Jackrabbit men. And that women's game, a lot of people looking forward to that. That's the league leaders in the Summit League right now. So hockey tonight, basketball doubleheader back here on Saturday next weekend. This game is for first place in the Summit League. North Dakota State is 10-2 in league play coming in. South Dakota State is 9-3.
I think the big question here strategy-wise, if you're North Dakota State, do you feel like you have enough time to play out this possession defensively? With 25 seconds on the shot clock, My guess is that David Richmond is going to let his team try to get one more stop and then try to score quickly.
Well, here's your if it started today, knew it, in the Summer League tournament. You would have North Dakota State in Western Illinois. South Dakota State would get the 2 seed and take on the Jaguars. Oral Roberts in Fort Wayne. But there are still, at least for these two teams, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, 3 games left in the regular season after today. Summer League tournament coming up that first weekend of March in Sioux Falls. We'll have it on Midco Sports Network all the way up until the championships. So as you said, North Dakota State going to play it out here on this possession. Jacks can take it under a minute. SDSU led by 8 a moment ago. That's the biggest lead for either team in the ballgame. Biddle gets a step, and Jake Biddle finishes off a good possession for the Jackrabbits.
You're not out of it for North Dakota State here. It's still a 2-possession game. You got to score quickly.
Alexander left it a little bit short. Werner crashing. Larson's got it, and now the Bison going to come foul. And they will get George Marshall with 43 seconds left. Jacks are not in the bonus yet. That's only the 16th foul against the Bison.
North Dakota State got what they wanted. Lawrence Alexander, though, just couldn't finish. And they had to foul in the backcourt. And North Dakota State setting up some backcourt pressure. This thing is certainly not over yet. South Dakota State's going to have to take care of it.
Bryant Ishola comes in here. Got to come foul right now, don't they? Larson is going to go right at Ishola, and South Dakota State gets a three-point play or three-point opportunity out of it instead.
Great look up the floor, and Larson, the aggressive play going to the rim. You got to credit the big man right there. He had the opportunity to score it, and he did. And that one's pretty much going to put this one on ice.
$11 points now for Larson to go with those 12 rebounds. Eight-point game, no shot clock anymore. Is Jacobson going to bring it up, and North Dakota State going to take a quick timeout?
Well, there's no doubt North Dakota State needs three-point shots here now, and they need a lot of them in a hurry. So that's the timeout called by David Richmond. They're going to set that up for his team, and then also talk about if we hit that three, then how do we want to try to play? We want to foul right away, try to get a turnover. Time definitely, though, not on his side.
All right, Oral Roberts and South Dakota State back here next Saturday. Men's game at 7 o'clock. And that will follow the women's game with South Dakota here against South Dakota State. And then Oral Roberts and the Jackrabbit men at 7 next Saturday. South Dakota State trying to stay unbeaten here at home. The men I speak of anyway, they're 25 seconds away. Trying to get Jacobson or Miller set for a three-point shot. Jacks way out above the three-point line, trying to take it away. Wouldn't go for Jacobson, knocked out by the Bison. I go to the monitor here and make sure who that last tip went off of. Biddle again was fighting for it for the Jackrabbits. Cody Larson, 12 rebounds as South Dakota State has been on the boards heavy this afternoon. 41 rebounds for the Jackrabbits, 26 for the Bison. And again, just a peek here in the final 2 minutes. You can go over and determine who it went out of bounds off of.
30 minutes after this game. Stick around.
We will get a word with Scott Nagy if the Jackrabbits can hang on here and win it. 15 seconds to go. And they are going to keep the call the way it was called off of North Dakota State. South Dakota State basketball. Bison trying to steal, can't get it. 13 seconds left, and DeAndre Parks will be at the free throw line for South Dakota State. Foul on Miller.
On the line for the Jackrabbits, number 0.
Moffitt and Horstman and Ian Tyson playing their roles this afternoon off the bench for the Jacks. And here's Parks, who was scoreless in the first half and then hit 3 straight threes, including that 4-point play in a little stretch to give the Jackrabbits a little bit of breathing room. David Richmond's team again playing without Corey Brown in the second half. Brown down with a knee injury. As Parks gets them both. Hoping that Corey Brown can finish out the regular season here. 3 games left for the Bison after this one. Alexander again for a 3. Biddle taps it out of bounds with 3.5 seconds left, but
Remember, in between the game and the match, we'll have dollar hot dogs and
one more inbound here. Jake Biddle, 6 rebounds to go with a dozen points. And another steal for Biddle. Alexander's going to get one more shot off here, but that is going to do it. 68-58. George Marshall, the junior for the Jackrabbits, is your player of the game, brought to you by Shields. 19 points for the transfer from the University of Wisconsin. He had 14 in that first half, came out, hit his first 2 threes, and Marshall, our player of the game, brought to you by Shields. DeAndre Parks ends up with 11, Jake Biddle with a dozen. Marshall officially with 20 for the Jackrabbits. Tellinghusen with 10. Cody Larson with 11 as the Jacks put 5 in double digits. Lawrence Alexander, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists for North Dakota State. And the Bison get 14 from A.J. Jacobson as well. And here is Brad Newitt with Scott Nagy.
Coach, you knew you were going to get a battle today from North Dakota State, and they gave you one.
They're tough. They really are. But I thought our guys were tough, too. We rebounded the ball as good as I've seen us do it all year, and that was the biggest key for us.
You also had 5 players in double figure. Talk about the balanced scoring.
Well, George got us there. I mean, there ain't any question. We weren't very good offensively in the first half, and he got us there. And then I thought Jake and DeAndre made some big plays for us late.
Congratulations. Big win.
Excuse me, 4:30 and 7 p.m. The wrestling meet. First Stanford will begin.
South Dakota State stays unbeaten here at home this season. The Jacks by 10 over North Dakota State, 68-58. Back with the final numbers on this one as we look ahead to next week.